Hey, boom, baby. What's going on? We're live for a UFC 248 recap, a boom recap. Boom, baby. What an amazing co-main event. It was kind of crazy, like, because I watch these fights, I get like so invested in the fight. So during the co-main event, I was just like tensing up. You forget to breathe. You're like, what is going on? This is mayhem. And then all of a sudden the co-main event, you forget there's a main event left. You're like you just went through the ringer watching that guy. And don't mind the glasses; these are the night vision glasses right here. We got a little reflection though. Should probably shut this bad boy off back here, right? Yeah, it doesn't do too much, but hey, what do you know? Um, yeah, the after the co-main event, I was like, oh my god, there's another fight left. This is crazy. I was like, I don't know if I could do this again. Like this is gonna be crazy. I gotta get to sleep. 'Cause after these fights, like you try to go to sleep, you're laying down. Like I almost feel like I have adrenaline, like from watching the fights. But man, what two warriors! Joanna Jacek, Weili Zhang, unbelievable performance by both of them. I mean, I gotta say, Joanna Jędrzejczyk's chin is so impressive. After being knocked out by Rose and being able to take those power shots from Jiang and essentially be unfazed. She was never really rocked. She never showed signs of being hurt, but she got hit so many times, very hard. For me as a fighter, I feel like a big part of that is seeing the punch come and also where it lands on your face. So let's say, you know, a punch comes from the side and hits your chin right here. That's where people get knocked out when their neck snaps. But if you get a punch straight away to your cheekbone or straight away to your forehead, which you saw that hematoma straight to the eye socket over here, like sometimes those shots they look really bad, but you're able to absorb them and you don't feel wobbled or rocked or out of sorts. It's the ones that catch you off guard or snap your neck a little bit that really throw your equilibrium off. So, Joanna showed no signs of being hurt. Um, Weili Zhang, it seemed like, she was taking her time early on, trying to feel things out and see, what Joanna's game plan was, which I thought Weili was going to come out way faster early on, like she did against Andrade, but she showed a little more respect to Joanna. But then once she opened up, she let it all out. She let it hang out. She was just in her face throwing power shots. They were both throwing combinations at the same time. It was kind of crazy how risky that fight was and how nobody got knocked out. Nobody got really badly hurt as far as being rocked and stuff like that. Like they were just meeting right here and throwing four punch combinations at the same time. Like, fuck it. I'm going to land. I don't care what you're throwing. I'm throwing two with reckless abandonment. Like I'm taking risks. I'm trying to finish you, and that's really respectable. That's really impressive. Um, you saw Weili Zhang try to take Joanna down a couple times. She had a little bit of success, but really couldn't hold Joanna down. Joanna's known for great takedown defense. It was kind of weird too. You could tell Weili Zhang was using a lot of muscle, a lot of strength to get those takedowns. She utilized a couple of little weird trips I'd never seen before, but like that style of trip, but she really didn't seem like she had the technique to like transition from that trip to like keep her down or advance from the takedown to a jujitsu scenario where she took her back or pulled her out and ended up on top and guard or side mount or something like that. She kind of just was like, I'm trying to rip you down to the ground and that's it. And Joanna would get up. She has good hips, and man, it was back and forth. It was so hard to score a fight like that because of how much exchanges were going on and how much volume was being thrown, how often they were landing. It was too much chaos to be like, oh yeah, you definitely won that round. Oh, you definitely won this round. I was like, I don't know. I'm leaning towards Zhang as far as more damage and more significant shots landed, but I think Joanna landed more shots. It's kind of hard to judge those fights. So I feel for the judges in that one, but man, that was one of the best fights in UFC history right there. Never mind women's UFC history. It's just unbelievable, that fight. I think everybody could attest to that. And it's just, you hope those girls are getting paid well for, putting their health on the line like that, going to war like that. That was intense stuff. And then, with that said, are they going to do the rematch? Are they going to look to do Rose, Weili Zhang? Are they going to look to go elsewhere? Who knows? I really would like to see a rematch in a fight like that. It's like, man, how do we not do a rematch? Like, don't we want to see that again? Like, that's crazy. Like, we want to see that happen again and see, who comes out on top there. Um, Amazing stuff. Don't mind the sniffles. I got allergies. I got a deviated septum. It's all fucked up. But hey, if you want to ask some questions, you can leave them on the side, on the bottom here in the question section. I'll get to those after I'm done. I'm not going to talk too much about the whole entire card, but some talking points, and of course the co-main and main event. But now moving on to the main event, we had Yoel Romero and Israel Adesanya. First, I want to say I understand completely that as a fan, as a person paying to watch this fight, it's a little bit frustrating to see a fight go down like that. I get that 100%. But as a fighter and as someone who's breaking down a fight a little bit differently as I watch it, as far as skill and technique and what's at stake and how this person fights and how this person's reacting and stuff like that. I mean, one thing I will say is that I was really impressed with is Yoel Romero's ability to see things coming at him. His vision is impeccable. Like, every punch thrown, every kick thrown, besides those leg kicks that hit his outside leg, he absorbs things really well. He either puts the arm up and blocks it perfect. He either parries the jab outside. He checks the kick with his leg. Even when he gets leg kicked, he kind of absorbs it. He kind of moves his body where the kick kind of gets absorbed and not meets the kick and gets thumped in the leg. Yeah, you saw the damage on the leg, but for the most part, I noticed these things about Yoel. His vision is amazing. He sees everything coming at him. He's such a veteran, he's so smart at lulling you and making you think things are slow, and you're afraid to leap in and do something offensive because of it, because when you do, you saw that left hand land on Israel, and he was blinking his eye, touching his eyes, like, what the fuck just hit me? He got thrown back, and now he's like, man, I'm not going to leap in again. So that's kind of where it started, where it's like Yoel's like, all right, I'm gonna move a little slow and kind of stand here and come on, like, come at me. We'll see what happens. Like, I'm not doing nothing. Go ahead, do your thing. And then, like, Israel's kind of slowly trying to pick him apart, where he's feinting, and then throwing a jab, feinting, throwing a kick. And you got to understand, when it comes to fighting, like, you don't want to get knocked out. You don't want to always take risks. And I think that's why the co-main event was so unbelievable and so highly respected, is because people who understand the risks that they took, the damage that they took, the ability to just go in there and fight and not give a shit. Sometimes when the stakes are so high, you can't always just go in there and risk it all. Don't you want to still be champion? Don't you want to still hold your title? How are you going to do that when you're fighting a guy like Yoel Romero, where one shot lands and it's over, or he's an Olympic level wrestler? If you overcommit to strikes, he can be underneath you and take you down, which he did take Israel down, but he's not good at holding guys down. He's not good at transitioning on the floor in jiu-jitsu aspects. He takes you down. He's good at bulldozing forward, getting you down, but then you get back up and it's back to square one. He likes to strike. That's just how he is. I don't know why he doesn't utilize the wrestling more. It just seems like he likes to strike. He's comfortable there. But Israel Adesanya did what he had to do to just barely win the fight. You can't hate on that when you understand the game. You understand what kind of Yoel Romero is when you're facing a guy like that. It's just different, There's a lot to be said about what kind of dangers you face if you just recklessly go at Yoel. And, something could be said for Israel kind of bouncing around the cage and not really committing as well. I understand the frustration there, but what could you do? Like, I'm looking at it as a fighter aspect. Like, hey, if you go in there and just start throwing at Yoel, you're going to either get taken down or he's going to land a big shot like he did with that left hand. So once you feel it, you're like, fuck this. I don't want to take those risks now. I'm going to play smart. Get back to the game plan. Do what we were supposed to do. Pick him apart. Touch and go. In and out. Don't stay there in front of him. Chew the legs up, feints, all that kind of stuff. It was a highly technical, skilled fight. It just wasn't very exciting and it wasn't very aggressive. So I see where, those people are coming from, where it's like, man, come on, like, Yoel, your last chance at a title for a long time potentially, or if ever, don't you want to win? Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to win? I see that. But Also, Yoel was willing to stand there and say, like, let's go. Like, come in and let's fight. But Israel was like, "Hey, I'm going to touch you and I'm going to move and you got to come to me. You got to come find me." So, it's a catch 22. It goes both ways. You can see two different stories. You can see one guy running in Israel, or you could see one guy just standing there in Yoel, not trying to attack, go forward and throw stuff either. As much as Yoel was upset with Israel and his running, as he was calling it, it's like you weren't running after him really to try to get him and to try to finish the fight yourself. So there's a lot to take away from this fight where nobody's right, nobody's wrong, but there was just a lot going on with nothing going on, if that makes sense. It's like there was a lot there, but nothing there at the same time for us to see, for us to be like, wow, this guy really wants it. Wow, this guy's really winning this fight. So that was rough. And what are they going to do now? Israel's going to fight Paulo Costa. I think that's going to be a much different fight. Styles make fights. Yoel Romero fights that way against a lot of people. That's just how it is. But Paulo Costa fights different. I think that guy is willing to walk forward and take more risks and really throw big shots at you and really walk you down and just make you feel that power. And I think he's got a little bit more of a risk-taking style. So I think with the Paulo Costa fight, you know, we could see a lot more aggression. We could see a lot more excitement go down. One of the things about Israel too is he's more of a counter striker, especially in this fight. He was playing counter striker, so he's kind of waiting on you to throw something or to react to a feint to then throw a combination. With Paulo Costa, this is going to be a guy who does react. This is going to be a guy who does take chances. So with that said, we could see Israel knock another guy out. When Whitaker came at him hard, Whitaker came at him to win the fight, and we saw what happened there. Israel knocked him out in a brutal fashion, really exciting. So styles make the fights. I think Paulo Costa, Israel's going to make for a much more exciting fight. I can't wait to see that one. So that's going to be great. Also, moving down on the card, what else do we see? Some highlights. I mean, what about Beneil Dariush, man? Unbelievable. That round, that sequence where him and Jakar Close were throwing at each other, and either one of these guys could have got knocked out. And, Beneil Dariush is known more for his submissions, which he had his back. He had Close's back for a while in the first round. And props to Jakar Close for, the defense that he displayed when, Beneil was on his back and really was sinking in that choke pretty good. But Jakar stayed calm, calculated. He fought the hands, which I think Beneil said he was kind of manipulating the fingers. But, hey, he got the job done on the defense there. But then they're in this crazy, wild exchange, and it looks like Jakar's getting the better of Beneil. But then Beneil lands this big shot, and Jakar's kind of stumbly, and then Beneil jumps on him like a shark and takes full advantage and puts him out. It was unreal. That was such an exciting performance from Beneil Dariush, and he's a veteran in the sport. He's got a lot of fights in the UFC. He's had his ups and downs. He's been knocked out, but he got the performance of the night, I believe, too. So that was beautiful stuff. How about Neil Magny, too? I thought Liang was going to be really dangerous in this fight. He's shown that in his last fight. I believe he fought in China, and he's a guy that gets really aggressive, a little bit sloppy in there, and he takes big risks to try to knock you out. The weird thing in this fight was Liang was like trying to clinch up and really overutilize these takedown attempts where like he was just using brute strength to like squeeze and dig underhooks and level change and wrap his hands around Neil Magny, but he wasn't really doing it in a technical way where he was able to transition a single to a double or a trip, and he was just tiring himself out, it seemed. And Neil Magny is not the guy you want to tire yourself out against. The guy has crazy cardio, crazy volume, and he put on an amazing performance as well for being out for 2 years with the USADA issue. We all know Neil Magny ain't on steroids, that's for sure. Look at the guy. But one of the nicest guys in the sport too, if you hear his interviews. I was impressed with him too. He really started to use momentum to his factor. He kind of saw Liang fading, and he took advantage of that, and he put more volume on it, has a real stiff jab, accuracy, and he was able to land his takedowns too. I think at first Liang had that strength advantage, but then Neil Magny was like Nuh-uh, you're getting tired. I'm going to take you down now. I'm going to make you feel this pace, and I'm going to make you fade. And that's exactly what he did. So unanimous decision for Neil Magny. Beautiful stuff. Alex Oliveira gets the win over Max Griffin. That was an exciting fight. I feel those two are like always in exciting fights, right? Like Max Griffin is always in some dramatic fights, back and forth. He gets hurt in like every fight. He hurts the other guy. It's craziness. Um, moving down to the prelims, obviously, my guy Sean O'Malley, who won't give me any recognition. I'm trying to call the guy out. I'm trying to give him a real test, and he's not responding. I guess he doesn't want to fight me. I don't know. He wants to let his managers, match make him appropriately, and I'm sure that's where they're going to go. But we'll see what happens. I'd like to fight the guy in Ireland, a little O'Malley versus Keller. What do you guys think? Trying to get it done. But anyways, talking about the fight itself, obviously Jose Corona is 8-4. It was kind of a layup fight. I saw that as well. Stylistically favorable matchup for Sean O'Malley. Not the best striker in the game. Corona is not the best wrestler, but he's decent at jiu-jitsu. Uh, it was a weird fight, man. The head kick didn't land flush. The uppercut landed, but then Quinonez was like still trying to like wrestle a little bit after that uppercut, but then all of a sudden just rolls onto his side and just covers up without any movement, any urgency to get up or to scramble. He just covers up. O'Malley's throwing hammer fist. Ref steps in immediately. I didn't see the shot that landed that really hurt him. I didn't see him hurt after the uppercut that bad where I thought, okay, this fight's about to end. It was one of those weird things where it's like, okay, uppercut looked nice while he was shooting in, but then it was like, oh, he's trying to wrestle up. He's still wrestling. He's fine. And then all of a sudden, boom, turned on, turtled, hands up. I'm like, wait a second. What the hell's going on here? Look weird to me, but whatever. O'Malley gets the win. Hopefully they give me that fight. I don't care if it's next. I want to fight in fucking April or May, and then I can fight him in August. That'd be great. Or International Fight Week. We'll see. I doubt it though. I think they'll give him a step up in competition next, but I don't know. I think they'll match him up appropriately stylistic wise. And I'm not saying he's a great, he's a good fighter. He's a good striker. He has weaknesses like we all do. I think I can exploit those. I also would like to steal all the hype. It's business, baby. Mark Madsen, I believe he broke his jaw, but he got the win. I believe he's an Olympic level guy wrestler. I'm not too sure though, but yeah, good win for him. Rodolfo Vieira takes that bad punch to the eye. His eye is all swollen shut, and he still gets the submission like a doctor. Gerald Mearshart takes care of Duran win. What a size discrepancy in that fight, right? Many people say Duran should go down to 170, but he did miss weight at 185 in the past, so it's hard to say that. But maybe he gets his discipline together. Maybe he finds, a better diet, nutrition plan, gets himself down to 170. I think that'd be more fitting for him, especially for his size and length and reach and stuff like that. Yeah, but it was a pretty good card altogether. Wasn't bad at all, but that was my takeaways from that card. We'll get to some questions here. Kevin Lapointe, Costa fight will be good. Yes, sir. Ryan Moody, what's up, baby? Sup King. Brenton Chapman. What would be your game plan if you get the Sugar fight? Well, I can't give that away. I mean, come on, we gotta be smart here. But let's just say, my game plan is pretty much similar with everyone. It's just I know when someone has weaknesses somewhere, I'm going to look to exploit those. I think O'Malley's got, good striking, decent, power, but he's got good accuracy. So I think that helps him. Good speed, good spinning techniques. He's unpredictable. But you got to go in there and show him no respect. Get in his face, throw volume, throw power at him. And push him up against the cage, take him down, ground and pound, look for the pass guard, look for submissions, threaten him on the ground. And he says his ground game's really improved, so I'd like to test that out. Anonymous user, yo, thoughts on O'Malley not wanting to accept your call out? Hey, we already talked about that. Yep. You know what? He's the type of guy, he knows he has a big name. He doesn't really have to call anybody out. He's just letting his managers and the UFC dictate favorable matchups for him. That's just what they do when they see star potential. I get it. But hey, I'm trying to be star potential too. So let's get that shit. Crack a lacking, baby. O'Malley would KO. Boom. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Anonymous user, I think the UFC will make the O'Malley fight for you. Other than that, I'd like to see O'Malley get the Vera fight that was booked last year. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight either, but I think Vera's fighting he's fighting what's his name? It's slipping up on me. I could see his face right now. Veteran. Jeez. You guys know. Slipping up on it. Ryan Moody. I'll make sure Jimmy Smith and myself talk about you when we break down O'Malley. Yes, let's go, baby. Let's get some fan pressure. That's what I'm saying. Ariel brought it up to O'Malley on the MMA Hour, the Ariel Helwani show, and he didn't want to really talk much about it. Eddie Wineland, that's who Vera's fighting. Yeah. Let's see if we got some questions on Twitter here. Boom, bada, bing, baby. Let's go. Yeah, no hard feelings, man. You have your opinion. That's good, man. I train with Marab all the time. He's a machine. He's good. On board. Let's go. What do we have here? All right, all right, all right. I believe we had a couple questions here. Uh, yeah, no one's going too hard in the paint on there. But whoa. Yeah, that's about it, guys. So that's the boom recap for UFC 248. If you guys give me a thumbs up, that's greatly appreciated. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate that as well. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next time, baby. Boom.